Honey, I never thought I'd live to see the day my own flesh and blood would look me in the eye and say, "Goodbye, Mom." That was the moment the world stopped for me. The smell of gasoline still hangs in my memory, sharp, heavy, choking. It crept under my door like a warning. I was lying in bed that night, my bones aching the way old bones do, when I heard him downstairs. The floorboards groaned beneath his boots. My son, Daniel. He used to tiptoe when he came home late from school. Now his steps were slow, heavy, almost angry. Then I heard the click of the lighter, and Lord knows, I wanted to believe I was dreamin'. I called out, voice barely more than a whisper, "Danny? What's that smell, sweetheart?" But he didn't answer. The silence was thick enough to hurt. I reached for my walker, tried to stand, and that's when I saw it. The flicker of orange crawling under the crack of the door. He was really doing it, my baby boy, my little Danny. I started coughing, my throat burnin' from the smoke. Every breath felt like knives. I banged on the door, scream cryin', "Danny, please open the door. It's Mama, baby, it's Mama." For a moment, there was nothing. Then the door handle turned. When he opened it, the firelight hit his face and he froze. His eyes went wide like he'd seen a ghost. Because what he saw wasn't just his mother standing there. It was something, or someone, he never expected to see again. What Daniel saw in that doorway changed everything. It was the reason he dropped the lighter, and the reason I'm still alive to tell you this story. When Daniel opened that door, he froze, like time itself had stopped. The lighter slipped from his hand and clattered onto the floor. He just stood there, eyes wide, face pale as moonlight, and I could see it in him, plain as day. That wasn't anger anymore. It was fear. But he wasn't looking at me. No, sweetheart, his eyes were fixed on the picture frame above my bed. It was my late husband, his father. That old photograph had been hanging there for years. Him in his army uniform, smiling proud, holding baby Danny in his arms. And maybe it was the firelight, or maybe it was something else entirely. But for a second, I swear that picture moved. Daniel stumbled back, whispering under his breath, "Dad? No, that can't be." He dropped to his knees, covering his face like a scared little boy again. The same boy who once ran to me crying 'cause he broke a toy, and now he was crying 'cause he almost broke me. I wanted to run to him, to hold him like before, but the flames were growing fast. The curtains caught first, then the rug. I could barely see through the smoke. My chest was screaming for air, and my legs, Lord, they wouldn't move fast enough. Still, I reached for him. "Danny, baby, get up. We gotta get out." He looked up at me then, tears streaking through the soot on his face, and said, voice shaken, "I didn't mean to, Mom. I swear, I just wanted you to." Then the ceiling cracked, and a piece of wood came crashing down between us. The fire roared, louder than my own heartbeat. And before I could even reach him, the world went black. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in my house anymore. And the face staring down at me, sure as hell wasn't my son's. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in my house anymore. The smell of smoke was still in my nose, but there was something else. Antiseptic, cold, clean. I blinked a few times. White walls, machines beeping, a soft hum of oxygen by my ear. Hospital. My chest hurt when I tried to breathe, and my hands were wrapped in bandages. I turned my head, slow, careful, and saw a man sitting by the window. He was weird in a black coat, looking down at his hands like he'd lost something precious. When he noticed me staring, he stood up quick, like he'd been waiting. "You're awake," he said. His voice was calm, but tired, like he'd carried too many secrets too long. I squinted, trying to place him. "Who are you, honey?" I whispered. He gave me a small, sad smile. "A neighbor. Name's Jack. I saw the fire. Broke in through your back door." I looked at him for a moment, then down at my hands. They were shaking. Did you see my son?" His jaw tightened. He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, "When I got there, you were on the floor near the kitchen. The fire was everywhere. I carried you out. But your son?" He stopped himself, eyes drifted to the window. That pause. That silence. It was worse than the fire. Tears welled up in my eyes. He didn't make it. Did he? Jack didn't speak. He just lowered his head, and I felt my whole world collapse in that quiet room. But then, he said something strange, soft, almost to himself. "Ma'am, before I pulled you out, your son was standing right over you. He looked terrified, like he'd seen someone else in that room." I frowned through my tears. Someone else? Jack nodded slowly. "Yeah, I could have sworn I saw another shadow behind you. Tall man, in uniform." Then it was gone. My heart stopped. A uniform. That's my husband," I whispered. "He's been gone 25 years. Soft pause, emotional breath. Jack looked at me, his eyes wide, a little pale now. "Well, ma'am, maybe he ain't as gone as you think." That night, I dreamed of my husband for the first time in decades. But when I woke up, there was a note on my bedside table, in handwriting I hadn't seen since the day he died. That night, I couldn't sleep. The machines in my room kept humming, and the rain tapped against the window like an old lullaby. But it wasn't peace I felt. It was a weight sitting right on my chest. Not just from the burns, but from the memories. Daniel, my boy, my sweet, broken boy. Why would he do that to me? Where did I go so wrong? Long pause, faint thunder. At some point, I must have drifted off, and that's when I saw him. My husband. He was standing in our old kitchen, the one before the fire, before the years wore us down. He looked just like he did in that picture. Strong, proud, and kind. "Mary," he said, his voice soft, but it filled the whole room. "You have to forgive him." I wanted to reach for him, but my hands felt heavy, like I was dreaming underwater. "He tried to kill me," I whispered. "He wanted me gone." My husband smiled that same way he used to when I'd scold Danny for stealing cookies. "He wasn't trying to kill you, sweetheart. He was trying to end his pain. You were just caught in it." Soft piano tone begins, heartbeats sound faint. When I opened my eyes again, the dream was gone. But there, right there, on my bedside table, was a folded piece of paper. At first I thought the nurse left it, but when I reached for it, my hand started to shake. Because the handwriting, Lord, I'd know it anywhere. It was his, my husband's, the note said. "Don't hate the boy. He's carrying more than you ever knew. Find the truth and forgive." I pressed that note to my chest and cried until the sun came up. The doctor said I should rest, but I couldn't. Because if that note was real, then there was something about Daniel I didn't know. The next day, I checked myself out of the hospital, burns and all. I had to go back to that house, but what I found there made me wish I'd never gone home at all. The morning I left that hospital, the sky was gray as old ash. The nurse said I shouldn't be walking yet, but Lord knows. My heart wasn't staying put another minute. I took a cab back to Maple Drive, what used to be my home, or what was left of it. The smell hit me first, burnt wood, wet smoke, and memories. The front porch was half gone, the roof sagged like it was tired of holding secrets. I stepped through the doorway, my cane sinking into soot. Every creak echoed like ghosts whispering. "You always wanted to remodel, didn't ya, Harold?" I whispered to my husband's picture frame, still shanging crooked on a wall that shouldn't have stood. I don't know what I was hoping to find. Maybe Daniel's wallet, or a sign he'd made it out. But what I found was worse. Near the kitchen, the same spot where the fire started, there was a metal lockbox. Half melted, half buried under charred boards. I knelt down slow, brushing away ash with my sleeve. The latch had popped open from the heat. Inside were papers, old ones, bank statements, letters, and a small photo of Daniel, looking thin, tired, shadows under his eyes. Then I saw a folded envelope marked with my name. It was scorched along the edges, but I could still read the first line. Mom, I'm sorry. I never told you the truth about Dad. My hand started sinking so bad I almost dropped it. I sat down right there on the floor and read the rest. Daniel wrote about bills we never knew his father left behind, about men who came looking for money after the funeral, and about how he'd borrowed from the wrong folks to keep me safe. They threatened him, he said, told him if he didn't pay up, they'd come after me. So he planned to fake both our deaths, burn the house, make it look like an accident. He never meant to hurt me. He just didn't know another way. Voice cracks, soft sob. Oh, Danny, you fool of a boy. Why didn't you just tell me? I folded that letter to my chest and the wind came rushing through the broken windows, like the house itself was trying to breathe again. I thought that was the end of it, the truth, the pain, the fire. But that night, when I came back to the motel, someone had already been there, and they'd left me another letter. That motel was quiet when I came back. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you listen for something you don't want to hear. I set my cane by the door, turned on the lamp, and there it was. A plain white envelope slid halfway under the door. No name, no address, just sitting there like it had been waiting for me. My heart started pounding. For a second, I thought maybe the police found something new about Daniel. But when I picked it up, my knees near gave out. It was his handwriting again. Inside was one page. Just one. Mom, if you're reading this, then somehow I failed twice. Once as your son, and once as a man trying to fix what I broke. I'm sorry. I never wanted you to see me like that. I never wanted you to be afraid of me. My tears hit the paper before I even finished the line. I saw Dad that night. I swear I did. He was standing behind you, shacking his head at me. I dropped the lighter because I couldn't face him or you. If there's any mercy left in this world, I hope you forgive me. I love you, Mom. Always did, always will. That was it. No signature, no goodbye. I pressed that letter to my chest and let the tears come. Not loud, not angry, just quiet. The kind that feels like they've been waiting years to fall. And for the first time since the fire, I didn't feel alone, because somehow, in that tiny motel room, I could almost hear both their voices. My husband's steady, my son's broken, whispering the same word. Forgive. So I did. Not for them. For me. I burned both those letters together that night. Watched the flames dance gentle, not angry like before. And I said, "Goodbye, my boys. You can rest now." The next morning, the sky was clear for the first time in weeks. And I swear, honey, when the sun hit my window, I heard my husband's laugh, soft, proud, just once more. Sometimes forgiveness don't change what happened, but it sets the soul free from what's left behind.